The mining drill made the same awful noise it always did. Kim Tae-ho wiped sweat from his face and checked his scanner again. The asteroid was bigger than they first thought. Much bigger. He had been walking around the far side for 3 hours. Now, and still no sign of the mineral deposits they came here to find. Tae-ho was tired. 28 years old and already feeling like an old man, mining work in space was hard on the body. The artificial gravity on the asteroid was weak, making every step feel strange. His boots crunched on the rocky surface as he walked further away from the main camp. The other miners were working on the near side of asteroid K7739. Tae-ho volunteered to check the far side alone. He liked the quiet. Space was peaceful when you got away from all the machines and people. Out here, he could think. His scanner beeped. Something big was buried under the rocks ahead. Tao hoped it was the iron ore they needed. The mining company would be happy, and maybe he could get a bonus. He needed the money to send home to his family on Earth, but when he got closer, the scanner showed something wrong. The shape was too smooth, too regular. This was not a natural rock formation. Tae-ho knelt down and brushed away the loose stones. Metal, definitely metal, but not the kind they were looking for. He dug faster, his heart beating hard. After 20 minutes of digging, he could see it clearly. A ship, an alien ship. Tae-ho had never seen an alien before. Nobody he knew had ever seen one. Sure, everyone knew there were other races out there in the galaxy. The government told them that much, but aliens never came to human space. Humans never went to alien space. Everyone kept to themselves. The ship was about the size of a small house. It was black metal with strange symbols carved into the sides. Parts of it were crushed and twisted. This ship had crashed hard. Tae-ho walked around the ship, looking for a way inside. His hands were shaking now. What if the alien was still alive? What if it was dangerous? What if it was dead? He found a crack in the side of the ship. The metal had split open when it crashed. Tae-ho could squeeze through if he was careful. He took out his flashlight and looked inside. The ship was dark and smelled like something burning. Strange lights blinked on and off along the walls. Everything looked broken. Pieces of metal and glass covered the floor. In the center of the ship, Tae-ho saw a chair, and in the chair was the alien. It was huge, at least 7 feet tall, even sitting down. The alien looked like a giant lizard that could walk on 2 legs. Its skin was dark green with black spots. It had 4 arms instead of 2. Its head was long like a crocodile with sharp teeth and yellow eyes. The alien was hurt, very hurt. Blue liquid was dripping from cuts all over its body. The blue liquid glowed like it had lights inside it. Pools of the glowing blue blood covered the floor around the chair. The alien's yellow eyes opened when Tae-ho's flashlight hit its face. It tried to sit up straight but fell back into the chair. It was too weak to move much. The alien said something, in a language Tae-ho had never heard. The words sounded harsh and angry. The alien tried to raise one of its arms, maybe to defend itself, but the arm just shook and fell back down. Tae-ho was scared, but he did not run away. The alien was dying. He could see that clearly. Whatever this creature was, wherever it came from, it needed help. Tae-ho took out his translation device. It was a small computer that could learn new languages. The mining company gave one to every worker in case they found old human artifacts with different writing. He had never used it before. He held the device toward the alien and pressed the record button. The alien spoke again, slower this time. The device beeped and showed some words on its screen. Stay back, dangerous, you die. The alien was warning him to stay away. Even while dying, it was trying to protect him. Tae-ho was surprised. He expected an alien to be more frightening. Tae-ho spoke into the device. I want to help you. I am not your enemy. The device made some harsh sounds. The alien's head moved slightly. It had understood. The alien spoke again. The translation device worked better this time. Cannot help. Different blood. I die soon. Go away before they come. Who is coming? Tae-ho asked. My people, bad people, they want me dead. You safe if you go now? Tae-ho looked around the broken ship. He could see why the alien was dying. It had lost too much blood. The blue liquid was still dripping from its wounds. On a human, these injuries would have been fatal hours ago. "What is your name?" Tejo asked. The alien was quiet for a long time. Then it spoke very softly. "Vorthek, I am Vorthek." "What are you called, small creature?" "Kim Tejo." "I am human." "This is my people's mining station." "Human." Vorthek said the word like he was tasting it. "I have heard of humans." "You are new to the galaxy, young race." "How long have you been crashed here?" Tejo asked. 2 days, maybe 3. "Hard to know." "My ship's timekeeper is broken." Tejo knelt down next to the alien's chair. Up close, he could see that Vorthak was wearing some kind of armor. It was badly damaged, but still covered most of his body. The armor looked expensive, like it belonged to someone important. "You are a soldier?" Tejo asked. Vorthak's laugh sounded like rocks grinding together. "Was soldier, was many things. Now just dying alien on small rock." "Why did your people try to kill you? Long story." "Family fight, politics, power." Vorthak's breathing was getting harder. "My uncle wants to be king. I was in his way." Tejo understood. Even among aliens, families fought over money and power. Some things were the same everywhere. "The wounds are too deep," Vorthak said. "Lost too much blood. Need iron in blood to heal. My artificial blood supplies destroyed in crash." "Iron in blood?" Tejo asked. "Humans have iron in their blood." Vorthak's yellow eyes opened wider. "Impossible." "Different species? Your blood would kill me. My blood would kill you." But Tejo was already thinking. He had basic medical training. From his time in the Earth Colonial Guard, all miners had to learn first aid. He knew how to give blood transfusions. It was dangerous, maybe impossible, but Vorthak was going to die anyway. "What if it worked?" Tejo asked. "It will not work. But what if it did?" Vorthak was quiet for a long time. His breathing was getting weaker. "If it worked, would be miracle. My people have legends about such things, but only legends." Tejo made his decision. He could not watch another living being die when he might be able to help. It did not matter that Vorthak was an alien. It did not matter that it was dangerous. "I'm going to try," Tejo said. "You will die, Kim Tejo." "Maybe, but you will definitely die if I do nothing." Vorthak looked at him for a long time. Something changed in the alien's yellow eyes. Surprise, maybe, or respect. "Why?" Vorthak asked. "Why risk your life for an enemy you just met?" Tejo thought about that. He was not sure of the answer himself. "Because it is the right thing to do," he said finally. Vorthak closed his eyes. "Humans are strange creatures," he whispered. Tejo ran back to the mining station as fast as he could. His legs felt weak from fear and excitement. He had never done anything this crazy before, but he could not get the image of the dying alien out of his head. Those yellow eyes, full of pain but still trying to warn him away from danger. The main building of the mining station was small and gray. It looked like a metal box sitting on the asteroid's surface. Inside were the living quarters, the medical bay, and the communication center. 12 people lived and worked here, far from Earth and far from any help. Tejo burst through the main door. Park Jiwoo was in the medical bay, checking supplies for the next shift. Jiwoo was the station's medical officer, a quiet man in his 40s who had worked on mining stations for 15 years. "Jiwoo," Tejo called out, "I need your help, emergency." Jiwoo looked up from his computer. He saw the look on Tejo's face and immediately grabbed his medical bag. "What happened? Are you hurt? Did someone get trapped in the mines?" "Not exactly." Tejo was breathing hard. "There is an alien. A crashed ship. He is dying." Jiwoo stopped moving. "What did you say? An alien? On the far side of the asteroid?" "His ship crashed. He has lost too much blood. He will die if we do." "Not help him." "Tejo, are you feeling okay?" "Did you hit your head out there?" "I am serious. Come with me." "Bring blood transfusion equipment." Jiwoo stared at him. "Blood transfusion? For an alien? That is impossible. Alien blood would kill you. Instantly, your blood would kill any alien." Maybe, but he said he needs iron-rich blood to heal. Human blood has iron. Human blood also has 1,000 other things that would be poison to an alien. Jiwoo shook his head. This is crazy talk. Taeho grabbed Jiwoo's arm. He is going to die right now. We have to try something. Even if there really is an alien out there, we should call Earth Command. Let the experts handle it. There is no time. It would take days for a ship to get here from Earth. He will be dead in hours. Jiwoo looked into Taeho's eyes. He had known Taeho for 2 years. The young man was not crazy. He was not the type to lie about something this serious. Show me. Jiwoo said finally. They loaded medical equipment onto a small transport vehicle. Jiwoo brought everything he could think of: blood bags, 4 tubes, monitoring equipment, emergency medicines. Most of it would probably be useless for treating an alien, but it was better than nothing. The ride to the crash site took 30 minutes. Jiwoo asked questions the whole way. What did the alien look like? How big was it? Did it seem dangerous? Could it speak? When they reached the crashed ship, Jiwoo stood outside for a long time, just staring at the black metal hull. I never thought I would see anything like this, he whispered. They squeezed through the crack in the ship's side. Jiwoo's flashlight beam found Vorthak in his chair. The alien looked worse than before. More blue blood had pooled on the floor. His breathing was very shallow. Dear God, Jiwoo said, he is real. Vorthak's eyes opened slowly. He looked at the new human with confusion. Taeho spoke into his translation device. This is Jiwoo. He is a healer. He came to help. 2 humans now, Vorthak said weakly. Both will die for nothing. Jiwoo moved closer, his medical training taking over his fear. He had never treated an alien before, but he knew dying when he saw it. The creature was in the final stages of blood loss. His pulse is very weak, Jiwoo said. Body temperature is dropping. If he was human, I would say he has maybe an hour left. Can you do the transfusion? Taeho asked. I can try. But this is completely experimental. I have no idea what will happen. Jiwoo looked at Taeho seriously. You could die. Horribly. Are you sure about this? Taeho nodded. I am sure. Jiwoo began setting up his equipment. He found a place on Vorthak's arm where he could insert and 4 needle. The alien skin was tougher than human skin, but the needle went through. His blood is definitely different, Jiwoo said, watching the blue liquid flow into a sample tube. The color comes from copper-based compounds instead of iron-based ones, like humans have. But you are right about the iron. His blood has almost no iron content. That might be why he is dying. Jiwoo set up a second 4 line in Taeho's arm. Last chance to change your mind, he said. Do it, Taeho said. The blood transfusion began slowly. Taeho's red blood flowed through the tube toward Vorthak's body. At the same time, small amounts of Vorthak's blue blood entered Taeho's system. As part of the exchange process, for the first few minutes, nothing happened. Vorthak's breathing stayed shallow. Taeho felt normal. Then Vorthak began to shake. Something is wrong, Jiwoo said. He checked the equipment, but everything was working correctly. The shaking got worse. Vorthak's whole body was trembling now. His yellow eyes rolled back in his head. Stop the transfusion, Jiwoo said. No, wait, Taeho said. But then he started shaking too. It felt like electricity was running through Taeho's veins. His heart began beating very fast. His vision became blurry. Pain shot through his chest and arms. I am stopping this now, Jiwoo said, reaching for the IV lines. Wait, Taeho gasped. Something is happening. The shaking was changing. It did not feel like dying anymore. It felt like something was being built inside his body. Like his blood was being rewritten. Vorthak made a sound like a roar, but it was not a sound of pain. It was something else. Both Taeho and Vorthak began to glow. The glow started faint, like moonlight. Then it got brighter. Soon the whole inside of the ship was filled with soft blue-white light. The light was coming from their blood, from their skin, from their eyes. What is happening? Jiwoo whispered. He had never seen anything like this in all his years of medicine. The glowing got brighter and brighter. Taeho felt like he was floating. Even though he was still sitting in his chair, every cell in his body felt alive and new. Then suddenly it stopped. The light faded. The shaking stopped. The ship became quiet again. Taeho looked at his hands. They looked normal, but he felt different. Stronger. More awake than he had ever been in his life. Vorthak sat up in his chair. Just sat up like he had not been dying. A few minutes ago, the cuts on his body were closing. The blue blood had stopped flowing. Impossible, Vorthak said. But he was not speaking into the translation device. He was speaking in Korean. Perfect Korean. Tae-ho understood him perfectly. More than that, he could somehow understand the alien's original language too. Words and meanings flowed into his. Mine like water. How are you speaking Korean? Taeho asked. How are you understanding my true speech? Vorthak replied. They stared at each other in amazement. G-Wu was checking his instruments with shaking hands. Your vital signs are off the charts, he told Taeho. Heart rate, blood pressure, brain activity. Everything is higher than normal, but somehow stable. Vorthak stood up from his chair. His legs, which had been too weak to support him before, now held his full weight easily. He looked down at his healing wounds with wonder. This should not be possible, he said. The Cathara bonding is only legend among my people. It has never been done between different species. What is Cathara bonding? Taeho asked, a joining of life forces. When two warriors share blood in the ancient way, they become more than the sum of their parts, but it only works between members of the same species. And even then, it fails more often than it succeeds. But we are not the same species, Taeho said. No, we are not. Vorthak looked at him with something like awe, yet here we stand. Both alive, both changed. You have saved my life, Kim Taeho, but I think you have done much more than that. Gu-Wu was still checking his equipment. I need to run more tests. This is beyond anything in medical science. Both of you should come back to the station immediately. No, Vorthak said firmly. That would be dangerous for everyone. My uncle's hunters are coming. They will follow the energy signature from the bonding ritual. Anyone near us will be in danger. What energy signature? Taeho asked. The light you saw, that was not just for show. It was a beacon that can be detected across star systems. Every member of my species within 100 light years now knows exactly where we are. Taeho felt his blood turn cold. How long do we have? Days, maybe a week if we are lucky. Ji-Woo packed up his medical equipment quickly. We need to tell Lee Soo-jin about this. She is the station administrator. She needs to know what is coming. Tell her, Vorthak said. But also tell her this. The humans on this station are now under the protection of Prince Vorthak, of the Kethmori royal house. Anyone who harms them will answer to me personally. Prince? Taeho said. I did not mention that before, Vorthak said with something that might have been a smile. There was no point. A dying prince is just a dying alien. But a living prince, that is something different. As they prepared to leave the crashed ship, Taeho realized his life had just changed, in ways he could not even imagine. He had offered his blood to save a stranger. Now he was bonded to an alien prince whose enemies were coming to kill them both, but strangely, he was not afraid. The bonding had changed something inside him. He felt stronger, braver, more alive. Than ever before, whatever was coming, he would face it standing next to his new ally. Taeho woke up feeling like he had been struck by lightning. Every muscle in his body felt different, stronger. When he sat up in his small bed, the metal frame creaked under what seemed like more weight than before. 3 days had passed since the blood transfusion. 3 days of sleeping deeper than he ever had in his life. Ji-Woo said his body needed time to adjust to the changes. Now, finally awake, Taeho could feel just how much he had changed. He stood up and almost hit his head on the ceiling. He had not grown taller, but somehow he felt like he took up more space. His clothes felt tight across his chest and shoulders. When he looked in the mirror, his eyes seemed brighter, more alert. Taeho walked to the common area of the mining station. Vorthek was there, sitting at a table that looked far too small for his massive frame. The alien prince was eating breakfast with Park Ji-woo and Lee Soo-jin, the station administrator. "Good morning, Kim Tae-ho," Vorthek said in perfect Korean. "How do you feel?" "Different," Tae-ho replied. Then, without thinking, he switched to Vorthek's native language. The words came naturally, like he had been speaking Kethmori his whole life. Much different. Lee Soo-jin dropped her coffee cup. She was a thin woman in her 50s, with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had been running mining stations for 20 years and thought she had seen everything. But talking aliens were new. "This is impossible," she said. "Humans cannot learn alien languages in 3 days." "We did not learn it," Tae-ho explained. "The bonding gave it to us. I can understand his thoughts sometimes. Not all of them, but some. And I can understand human emotions in ways my people never could," Vorthek added. "Your species feels things very deeply. It is ... overwhelming at times." Ji-woo was taking notes on his medical tablet. "Your physical changes are remarkable too, Tae-ho. Your strength has increased by 40%. Your reflexes are twice as fast as before. Your brain activity shows patterns I have never seen in humans." "What about Vorthek?" Tae-ho asked. "His healing ability is beyond anything in medical science. Wounds that should take weeks to heal are closing in hours. But more interesting, he has developed something new. Show him, Vorthek." The alien prince held up one of his 4 hands. Slowly, his dark green skin began to change color. First to brown, then to a pale pink that almost matched human skin tone. "Limited shape-shifting," Vorthek explained. "I cannot change my size or basic form, but I can alter my appearance somewhat. This ability does not exist among my people. It came from the bonding with you." Lee Soo-jin stood up from the table. "I need to contact Earth Command immediately. They need to know about this." "That would be unwise," Vorthek said calmly. "Your Earth authorities would want to study us, capture us, separate us to see how the bonding works. This would be bad for everyone." "You cannot just stay here forever," Soo-jin argued. "This is a mining station, not a diplomatic facility. We do not have the resources to handle first contact with aliens." "We will not be here forever," Vorthek replied. "My uncles? Hunters are coming. The energy signature from our bonding was detected across many star systems. They will arrive soon." Tae-ho felt a chill. During the 3 days he was unconscious, Vorthek had told the others about his family's civil war, about his uncle Macther, who had stolen the throne, about the assassins who were now hunting both of them. "How soon?" Tae-ho asked. "Today, maybe tomorrow. I can feel them getting closer. The bonding allows me to sense other members of my species when they are near." "What will they do when they get here?" Soo-jin asked. "Kill me, kill Tae-ho. Probably kill all of you to eliminate witnesses." Vorthek said this very calmly, like he was talking about the weather. "Then we need to evacuate the station," Soo-jin said. "Get everyone out of here." "The evacuation ship is not due for 2 weeks, Ji-woo reminded her. "Our emergency beacon would take days to reach the nearest Earth patrol. Besides," Vorthek added, "running would not help. My uncle's forces have ships that can track you anywhere in this star system. Your only chance is to fight." "Fight?" Soo-jin laughed bitterly. "We are miners, not soldiers. We have mining equipment and construction tools. They have alien warships. You have something more valuable than weapons," Vorthek said, looking at Tae-ho. "You have me, and you have him. Together we are more dangerous than any warship." Tae-ho was not sure he believed that, but something inside him felt ready for a fight. The bonding had changed more than just his body. He felt braver, more confident. Like he could face anything? "What do you mean?" Tae-ho asked. "The Kaithara bonding creates a connection between warriors that makes them nearly unstoppable. We can share thoughts, coordinate perfectly, combine our strengths. But this has never been done between species before. We do not know the full extent of our abilities." "Then we need to find out quickly," Soo-jin said. "Because I just got an alert from our long-range sensors. 3 ships are approaching from the outer system. They will be here in 6 hours. Vorthak stood up, his full height making the ceiling seem very low. 3 ships means about 30 warriors. Elite hunters. Probably, this will not be an easy fight. What can we do to help? Evacuate all non-essential personnel to the emergency shelters on the far side of the asteroid. Seal them in and do not come out no matter what you hear. Teho and I will handle the rest. Just the 2 of you against 30 alien warriors. Sujin shook her head. That is suicide. Maybe, but it is better than letting them kill everyone on this station. Vorthak turned to Teho. Are you ready to test what we have become? Teho thought about it. A week ago, he was just a mining engineer. Now he was bonded to an alien prince and about to fight trained killers from another world. It should have been terrifying. Instead, he felt excited. I am ready, he said. They spent the next few hours preparing. Vorthak showed Teho how to access the alien ship's remaining weapons systems. Most of the ship was destroyed, but some defensive systems still worked. Teho found he could operate them as easily as if he had been trained on them his whole life. The bonding shares knowledge as well as abilities, Vorthak explained. You now know everything I know about combat tactics and alien technology. I now understand human engineering and problem-solving methods. What else can we do together? Teho asked. Let us find out. They started with simple tests. When they stood close together and concentrated, they could share thoughts directly. Not just words, but complete ideas and images. When they moved apart, they could still sense each other's location and emotional state. Then they tried physical coordination. Moving together, they could anticipate each other's actions perfectly. Teho would start to move left, and Vorthak would already be shifting to cover his right side. It was like they were 2 parts of the same person. This is incredible, Teho said. How far does it go? I do not know. My people's legends speak of bonded warriors who could share pain, heal each other's wounds, even share life force in extreme situations. But those are just stories. Maybe not just stories anymore. 2 hours before the enemy ships arrived, Lia Sujin made an announcement over the station's communication system. All personnel report to emergency shelters immediately. This is not a drill. Repeat, all personnel to emergency shelters now. The other miners gathered their essential belongings and headed for the reinforced bunkers on the asteroid's far side. They looked scared but determined. These were tough people who had chosen to work in the most dangerous job in human space. They would not panic easily. Yun, one of the mining engineers, stopped to talk to Teho before leaving. Are you sure about this? She asked. You do not have to fight for us. You could come to the shelters too. Someone has to make a stand, Teho replied. Besides, I think this is what I was meant to do. Good luck, she said, and hurried after the others. Soon, only Teho and Vorthak remained in the main station. The place felt empty and quiet. Outside, through the thick windows, they could see 3 bright dots growing larger in the black sky. They are coming, Vorthak said. Are you afraid? Teho asked, terrified, Vorthak admitted, but also excited. For the first time in my life, I am fighting for something that matters. Not for politics or power, but to protect innocent people. Is that a human emotion you learned from me? Perhaps. Your species has taught me that there are things worth dying for besides honor and duty. The dots in the sky were now clearly visible as spacecraft. Sleek, deadly-looking ships that moved with the precision of hunting animals. Here they come, Teho said. Here we go, Vorthak replied. They stood together in the station's main corridor, 2 unlikely allies preparing to face an impossible fight. A human mining engineer and an alien prince, bonded by blood and shared purpose, the first enemy ship began its descent toward the asteroid's surface. The real test of their bonding was about to begin. The first alien ship landed with a sound like thunder. The ground shook under Teho's feet as the massive vessel touched down near the mining station's main entrance. Through the reinforced windows, he could see warriors in black armor jumping out of the ship. Kethmori death squads, Vorthak said grimly. The best killers my uncle has. They are trained from childhood to hunt and eliminate targets? How many? Teho asked, checking the mining laser he had modified into a weapon. 10 from the first ship? 20 more from the other 2 ships when they land. Vorthek was holding a strange weapon he had taken from his crashed ship. It looked like a metal rod, but when he pressed a button, energy crackled along its length. They will try to surround us. The second and third ships were circling the asteroid, looking for the best landing spots. The hunters were being careful. They knew Vorthek was dangerous, even wounded. They do not know about you yet, Vorthek told Teho. That gives us an advantage. They expect to fight one weakened prince. They are not prepared for a bonded pair. Through their mental connection, Teho could feel Vorthek's emotions. The alien prince was scared, but there was something else too. Excitement. After months of running and hiding, he was finally going to fight back. What is the plan? Teho asked. Stay close to me. Trust the bonding. Do not think too much. Just react. Our bodies know what to do now. The first group of hunters approached the station's main door. They moved like shadows, perfectly coordinated. Each warrior was at least 7 feet tall and covered in black armor that seemed to absorb light. They carried weapons that hummed. With deadly energy, the lead hunter spoke in the Kethmori language. Through the bonding, Teho understood every word. Prince Vorthek, you have brought shame to the royal family. Come out and face your death with honor. I am no longer the same prince you were sent to kill, Vorthek called back. I have been reborn. Leave now, and I will let you live. The hunters laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. You are alone and wounded, the leader said. We are 10 of the Empire's finest warriors. This will be over quickly. He is not alone. The voice surprised everyone, including Teho. He had spoken without thinking, the words coming out in perfect Kethmori. The hunters stopped moving, confused by the human voice speaking their language. What was that? One of them asked. Impossible, said another. Humans cannot speak our tongue. Vorthek smiled, showing his sharp teeth. My friends, let me introduce you to something new in the galaxy. A human Kethmori bonded pair, the first of our kinds. The hunters raised their weapons. They did not understand what was happening, but they knew it was dangerous. Kill them both, the leader commanded. The attack began. Energy blasts tore through the station's main door like it was made of paper. Teho and Vorthek rolled in opposite directions, moving with perfect coordination. Even though they had not planned it, the bonding was working, making them move like parts of the same organism. Te-Ho fired his modified mining laser at the nearest hunter. The beam burned through the warrior's armor, dropping him instantly. At the same moment, Vorthek's energy weapon struck another hunter in the chest. 2 down. 8 to go. The remaining hunters spread out, trying to surround them. But Teho and Vorthek could sense each other's position perfectly. When hunters attacked from behind, they were already moving to cover each other. How are they doing this? One hunter shouted in confusion. They move like they share one mind, said another. Because we do, Teho replied, surprising himself again with his fluent Kethmori. A hunter leaped at Teho from above, using the low gravity to jump incredible distances, but Teho was ready. The bonding had given him access to Vorthek's combat experience. He rolled sideways and struck upward with a metal pipe, catching the hunter in the stomach and sending him crashing into the wall. Meanwhile, Vorthek was fighting 3 hunters at once. His movements were different than before the bonding. Instead of the straightforward Kethmori fighting style, he was using unpredictable human tactics, feinting left, then attacking right, using the environment as a weapon, fighting dirty when necessary. He fights like a human, one confused hunter said. And the human fights like one of us, said another. This was exactly the problem. The hunters had trained their whole lives to fight Kethmori warriors and human soldiers, but they had never faced someone who combined both fighting styles perfectly. Teho ducked under an energy blast and grabbed a heavy mining tool. When he swung it, his enhanced strength sent a hunter flying across the room. The warrior hit the far wall so hard that his armor cracked. Through their mental link, Teho felt Vorthak's approval and shared combat knowledge. The alien prince was learning human improvisation, while Taiho was gaining centuries of Kathmori. Warrior training, the battle moved outside as more hunters poured out of the landed ships. The second and third ships had finally touched down and fresh warriors were joining the fight. 30 against 2, Vorthak said as they took cover behind a mining vehicle. Bad odds. For them, Teho replied and realized he meant it. The bonding had changed his perspective completely. He felt like he could take on the entire Kathmori Empire if necessary. They were no longer fighting as two individuals. They were fighting as something new. Something that had never existed before in the galaxy. The hunters tried to use their superior numbers to overwhelm them. Groups of 5 or 6 warriors would attack from different directions at the same time. But Teho and Vorthak moved like they were connected by invisible strings. When one was in danger, the other was already there to help. A hunter with a massive hammer-like weapon cornered Teho behind a rock formation. The warrior raised his weapon for a killing blow, but Vorthak appeared behind him like a ghost, striking with his energy weapon before the hunter could react. At the same time, Teho was saving Vorthak from a similar ambush on the other side of the battlefield. They protected each other without even thinking about it, their shared consciousness making them nearly impossible to defeat. This is not possible, the lead hunter said, breathing hard. Half his warriors were down and the other half were exhausted. How can 2 fighters defeat so many? You are not fighting 2 fighters, Vorthak explained. You are fighting something entirely new, something your empire has never seen before. The remaining hunters regrouped, trying a new strategy. Instead of attacking Teho and Vorthak directly, they began targeting the mining station itself. Energy blasts tore through equipment and buildings. They are trying to force us into the open, Vorthak said. Let them, Teho replied. We fight. Better in the open anyway. They charged together across the asteroid's surface. The low gravity allowed them to make huge leaps, covering ground faster than the hunters expected. Teho found he could jump nearly as far as Vorthak now, his enhanced muscles adapting to the alien environment. The final battle was fierce and chaotic. Energy weapons lit up the dark space around the asteroid. Warriors fought hand-to-hand when their weapons were damaged or depleted. The sound of metal striking metal rang across the mining site, but in the end the bonding proved too powerful. Teho and Vorthak fought with perfect coordination, covering each other's weaknesses and combining their strengths. One by one, the hunters fell. When the last warrior dropped, silence fell over the battlefield. Smoke rose from damaged equipment and fallen bodies. The 3 alien ships sat empty, their crews defeated. Teho and Vorthak stood in the center of it all, barely breathing hard. The fight that should have killed them had only made them stronger. Is it over? Teho asked. This battle is over, Vorthak replied, but more will come. Word of what happened here will spread across the Empire. They will send bigger forces next time. Then we need to be ready. No, Vorthak said firmly. We need to go on the attack. It is time to take back my throne. Through their bond, Teho could feel Vorthak's determination. The alien prince was done running, done hiding. He wanted to reclaim his birthright and stop his uncle's reign of terror. I am with you, Teho said without hesitation. This means leaving your world behind, your family, your people, everything you have ever known. Teho thought about his simple life as a mining engineer. Then he thought about the incredible things he had experienced in the past week. The choice was easy. My life began the day I offered you my blood, he said. Everything before that was just waiting. Vorthak placed one of his 4 hands on Teho's shoulder. Then let us go reclaim an empire, my brother. As they walked toward the alien ships, Teho realized that his act of compassion toward a dying stranger had changed not just his own life, but potentially the fate of multiple worlds. The bonding between human and Kathmori had created something unprecedented in galactic history. Now it was time to see what that something could accomplish. The Kathmori warship was much larger than Teho had expected. It stretched across the asteroid's surface like a metal mountain, its black hull covered in weapons and armor. Inside, corridors wide enough for 3 humans to walk side by side seemed narrow when Vorthak moved through them. "This is a heavy cruiser," Vorthak explained as they explored the captured ship. "It can carry 200 warriors and has enough firepower to destroy a small moon. My uncle sent his best to kill us. And now it is ours," Tejo said, running his hand along the strange metal walls. Through the bonding, he could understand the ship's systems as if he had studied them for years. They had spent 2 days learning to operate the alien vessel. The other miners had come out of their emergency shelters to help salvage useful equipment from the mining station. Lee Soo-jin was organizing the evacuation of non-essential personnel, while Park Ji-woo documented everything that had happened for his report to Earth Command. "You realize what this means?" Ji-woo had told Tejo the night before. "You are leaving humanity behind. Once you go with him into alien space, you may never see Earth again." Tejo had thought about that. His parents lived on Earth in a small farming town outside Seoul. His sister was studying to be a teacher. He had a simple life waiting for him when his mining contract ended, but when he looked at Vorthak, he felt something he had never experienced before. Purpose. The bonding had shown him glimpses of the Kethmori Empire. Billions of beings living under his uncle's cruel rule. Worlds where freedom was unknown and strength was the only law. "Some things are more important than personal comfort," Tejo had replied, now standing on the bridge of a warship capable of traveling between stars. Tejo felt the weight of his decision. He was no longer just Kim Tae-ho, mining engineer. He was something new, something that could change the galaxy. The navigation computer shows 3 possible routes to the Kethmori. "Home system," Vorthak said, studying the ship's displays. "The direct route would take us through space controlled by my uncle's forces. Too dangerous." "What about the other routes?" Tejo asked. "The second route goes through neutral territory. Safer, but it would take twice as long. By the time we arrived, my uncle would have consolidated his power completely." "And the third route?" Vorthak's expression darkened. "Through the Forbidden Zone, space that has been declared off limits to all Kethmori ships for 300 years. Why is it forbidden? Ancient battlefields, gravity storms, things that destroy ships and leave no survivors. My people avoid it completely." Tejo studied the star charts. The Forbidden Zone was marked in red with warnings written in multiple languages, but something about it called to him. Through the bonding, he could sense possibilities that Vorthak's traditional Kethmori thinking missed. "What if we take the Forbidden's route?" Tejo suggested. "That would be suicide." "Maybe for a normal Kethmori ship. But we are not normal anymore, are we?" Vorthak considered this. The bonding had given him access to human intuition and creativity, ideas that would never occur to his methodical people. "You think we can succeed where others have failed?" "I think we can do things that have never been done before. We already proved that," they made their decision. The Forbidden Zone, it would be dot before leaving the asteroid. They said goodbye to the mining station crew. Yun shook Tejo's hand and wished him luck. Lee Soo-jin gave him a message to carry to Earth Command if he ever made it back to human space. "Tell them that first contact went better than anyone expected," she said with a smile. Park Ji-woo was the hardest to leave. The medical officer had become fascinated by the bonding process and wanted to study it further. "You are carrying the future of human-alien relations in your blood," he told Tejo. "Do not forget that." The warship lifted off from the asteroid with surprising grace for something so large. Tejo watched through the main viewport as the mining station grew smaller below them. Soon it was just a tiny dot of light against the black of space. "Any regrets?" Vorthak asked. "No," Tejo replied, and realized he meant it completely. The journey to the Forbidden Zone took 5 days at maximum warp speed. During that time, Tejo learned more about Kethmori history and culture. The empire had existed for over 1,000 years, conquering and absorbing hundreds of worlds. But it had never encountered anything like humanity. "Your species is unique," Vorthak explained as they practiced combat techniques in the ship's training room. Most races we have met are either purely logical or purely emotional. Humans somehow manage to be both at the same time. Is that why the bonding worked? Teho asked, dodging a practice swing from Vorthak's energy weapon. Perhaps? My people believe that balance creates power. You have shown me what true balance looks like. Their abilities continued to grow stronger. Teho could now lift objects that would have required machinery before. His reflexes were so fast that he could dodge energy blasts at close range. Most importantly, his mental connection with Vorthak was becoming deeper and more complex. When they finally reached the edge of the Forbidden Zone, Teho understood why it had such a terrible reputation. Space itself seemed wrong here. Stars flickered with unnatural colors. Gravity waves made the ship shake even when nothing was visible on the sensors. The records say that over 300 ships have been lost in this region, Vorthak said, reading from the navigation computer. None have ever returned. What destroyed them? No one knows. The ships simply disappear. They entered the Forbidden Zone carefully, moving at half speed and scanning constantly for dangers. For the first few hours, everything seemed normal. Then the problems began. The ship's gravity generators started fluctuating wildly. One moment, Teho felt normal weight. The next, he was floating near the ceiling. Vorthak, with his 4 arms, managed better, but even he struggled with the constant changes. The gravity storms are interfering with our systems, Vorthak reported from the pilot's chair. If this gets worse, we could lose life support. Through the bonding, Teho could feel the ship around them like it was part of his own body. The human intuition that Vorthak had gained was telling him something important. The storms are not random, Teho said suddenly. They have a pattern. Impossible. Gravity storms are natural phenomena. They cannot be controlled. But Teho was already moving to the navigation console, his enhanced reflexes allowing him to work despite the shifting gravity. His fingers flew over the alien controls as if he had been using them his whole life. Look at this, he said, pointing to the display. The storms pulse every 17 seconds. Always 17 seconds, Vorthak studied the data. You are right. But what does it mean? It means something is controlling them, something artificial. They followed the pattern deeper into the Forbidden Zone. The gravity storms grew stronger, but Teho had figured out how to predict them. By timing their movements carefully, they could avoid the worst effects. Finally, they found the source. It was a space station, massive beyond imagination, easily 10 times the size of their warship. But it was like no Kethmori technology Vorthak had ever seen. The station was built in impossible geometric shapes that hurt to look at directly. What is that? Teho whispered. I do not know. It is not in any of our historical records. As they approached the station, it began to respond to their presence. Lights flickered along its hull in patterns that seemed almost like communication. The gravity storm stopped completely. It knows we are here, Vorthak said. A voice spoke over their communication system. Not in Kethmori or any language either of them recognized, but somehow they understood it perfectly. Welcome, bonded ones. We have been waiting for you. Teho and Vorthak looked at each other in amazement. Through their mental link, they shared the same impossible thought. You are the first to successfully bond across species, the voice continued. The first to prove that the barriers between races can be overcome. We are the Guardians, and we have a gift for you. A docking bay opened in the side of the massive station, glowing with soft blue light that reminded Teho of their bonding. Ritual? Should we trust them? Teho asked. We have come this far by trusting each other, Vorthak replied. I say we continue? They piloted their ship into the docking bay. As soon as they landed, the bay sealed behind them and filled with breathable atmosphere. When they stepped out of their ship, they found themselves in a chamber that defied understanding. The walls seemed to stretch infinitely in all directions, yet also felt intimately small. Floating in the center of the chamber was a figure that constantly shifted between different forms, sometimes humanoid, sometimes Kethmori, sometimes something else entirely. You have accomplished something that was thought impossible, the Guardian said. Your bonding has created a new form of life. Neither fully human nor fully Kethmori, but something greater than both. What do you want from us? Vorthak asked. Nothing. We wish to give you something. The power to complete your mission and change the galaxy forever. The Guardian gestured, and two objects appeared floating before them. They looked like crystals, but they pulsed with the same energy as their bonded blood. These are amplifiers. They will enhance your bonding beyond anything you can imagine. But be warned, once you accept them, there is no going back. You will become something entirely new. Could feel the Kethmori homeworld was beautiful and terrible at the same time. From space, Teho could see massive cities that stretched across entire continents. Billions of lights twinkled in the darkness, representing billions of lives under General Nakthar's rule. There, Vorthak pointed to a cluster of golden towers at the planet's north pole, the Imperial Palace. My birthright. But between them and the palace stood the largest military fleet Teho had ever imagined. Hundreds of warships surrounded the planet like a metal ring. Each ship was armed with enough weapons to destroy a moon. How do we get through all of that? Teho asked. We do not go around them, Vorthak replied. We go through them. The crystals from the Guardians had changed them in ways they were still discovering. Teho could now sense the emotions of every Kethmori warrior in the fleet. Most were afraid, confused by their orders to fire on their rightful prince. Many were loyal to Vorthak's family and hated serving the usurper. Half the fleet does not want to fight us, Teho reported. They are only following orders because they are scared. Then we give them a choice, Vorthak said. They opened a communication channel to the entire fleet. Vorthak's voice carried across space to every ship, every warrior, every officer who had sworn loyalty to the royal family. Warriors of the Kethmori Empire, Vorthak began. I am Prince Vorthak, rightful heir to the throne. My uncle has told you that I am dead, but I stand before you very much alive. Chaos erupted in the fleet's communications. Ship captains argued with their crews. Some vessels began turning away from the planet, refusing to fight their prince. Others moved into attack formation, their loyalty bought by Nakthar's promises of power. I do not come alone, Vorthak continued. I bring with me a new ally, a human named Kim Teho, who saved my life with his own blood. Together we represent something that has never existed before. A partnership between our species that could change the galaxy forever. Prince or not, you are outnumbered 1,000 to 1, came a reply from the fleet commander. Surrender now, and your death will be quick. I offer you one chance, Vorthak replied calmly. Stand aside and let justice be done, or face the consequences of betraying your rightful emperor. The response was immediate. Energy blasts from 50 warships lit up the space around their vessel. But Teho and Vorthak were no longer the same beings who had fled the mining asteroid. The Guardian's crystals had amplified their bonding beyond anything imaginable, moving. As one mind and two bodies, they piloted their ship through the deadly barrage. Energy beams that should have vaporized them missed by millimeters. Missiles exploded harmlessly as they anticipated every attack before it came. Impossible, the fleet commander said over the communication channel. No one can fly like that. We are no longer bound by the possible, Teho replied, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had touched the infinite. Their ship reached the first line of enemy vessels. Instead of trying to fight through hundreds of warships, they did something unexpected. They surrendered. What are you doing? The confused fleet commander asked as their ship's weapons powered down. Coming aboard to talk, Vorthak said simply, before anyone could respond. Teho and Vorthak transported directly onto the flagship's bridge. The Guardians' technology had given them abilities that seemed like magic to the ordinary Kethmori. Warriors, the bridge crew raised their weapons, but Vorthak held up one hand and they all froze. Not through force, but through the sheer presence he now commanded. Enhanced by the bonding and the crystals, he radiated the natural authority of a born leader. Captain Zethkar, Vorthak said, recognizing the fleet commander. You served under my father for 20 years. You carried me on your shoulders when I was a child. Do you really believe I'm a traitor to my own people?" The captain was a scarred veteran with intelligent eyes. He looked at Vorthak for a long moment, then slowly lowered his weapon. "My prince," he said, dropping to one knee. "Forgive me. We were told you had turned against the Empire, that you planned to sell our worlds to alien invaders." "The only alien invader is my uncle," Vorthak replied. "But this human beside me is not an invader. He is my brother in all but blood." "Actually, he is my brother in blood, too." Around the bridge, other officers were laying down their weapons. The bonding allowed Teho to feel their emotions shifting from fear and confusion to hope and relief. These warriors had never wanted to fight their rightful prince. "What are your orders, Your Highness?" Captain Zethkar asked. "Divide the fleet. Those loyal to the royal family will stand with us. Those who choose to serve my uncle may leave now without punishment. But those who stand against us when we reach the palace." Vorthak let the threat hang in the air. Within an hour, the great fleet had split almost exactly in half. Ships that remained loyal to Vorthak formed up behind his vessel. Ships loyal to General Makther retreated to defensive positions around the planet. The civil war had begun. The battle for the imperial palace lasted 3 days. Vorthak's forces were outnumbered, but they fought with the desperate energy of people fighting for their freedom. More importantly, they had something Makther's forces did not have: perfect coordination. Through the bonding, Teho and Vorthak could communicate instantly with every ship in their fleet. They shared tactical information, coordinated attacks, and anticipated enemy movements with supernatural accuracy. It was like having one brilliant military mind controlling hundreds of ships at once. "How are they doing this?" General Makther demanded from his command center in the palace. "They fight like they share a single consciousness." "Because they do, Uncle." Makther spun around to find Vorthak and Teho standing behind him. They had transported directly into the most secure room in the Empire, bypassing every defense and security system. "Impossible," Makther breathed. "The palace shields block all transportation technology." "Kethmori technology, yes," Teho said. "But we are using something much older and more powerful." General Makther was a huge Kethmori, even larger than Vorthak. His armor was covered in the symbols of conquered worlds, and his weapons were the finest the Empire could produce. But when he looked at his nephew and the human, he took a step backward. "You are no longer Kethmori," he said with disgust. "You have polluted yourself with alien contamination." "I have evolved," Vorthak replied. "I have learned that strength comes not from conquest, but from cooperation, something you could never understand." The final battle was not between armies or fleets. It was between 3 individuals in a room at the top of the tallest tower on the planet. General Makther fought with all the skill and power of a lifetime warrior. His energy weapons could have cut through a starship's hull. His armor could withstand the explosion of a small bomb, but he was fighting something that had never existed before. Teho and Vorthak moved as one being with 2 bodies. When Makther attacked one, the other was already behind him. When he tried to use his superior strength against the human, the alien was there to block him. When he tried to use his knowledge of Kethmori fighting styles against his nephew, he found himself facing human unpredictability instead. In the end, it was not violence that defeated General Makther. It was exhaustion and the realization that he could never win against an enemy who fought with perfect unity. "I yield," he said finally, dropping his weapons. "You will stand trial for your crimes," Vorthak said. "But you will live. That is the difference between your rule and mine." The coronation of Emperor Vorthak was unlike anything in Kethmori history. For the first time, a non-Kethmori stood beside the throne as an equal. Teho was named War Prince of the Empire, with authority over 3 star systems and a fleet of the most advanced ships in the galaxy, but more importantly, their partnership opened the door to something new. Within months, ambassadors from dozens of species were arriving at the Imperial Palace. The galaxy had heard about the human Kethmori bonding, and everyone wanted to learn more about this new form of cooperation. You realize what you have started, Emperor Vorthek said to Tahoe as they stood on the palace balcony looking out over their empire. A simple mining engineer offering his blood to save a dying alien? Tahoe smiled. Who could have predicted where that would lead? The Guardians knew. That is why they were waiting for us in the Forbidden Zone. They have been preparing for this moment for centuries. Tahoe thought about the long journey from that first desperate act of compassion to this moment of ultimate power. Every choice had led to the next, creating a chain of events that had reshaped the galaxy. What happens now? He asked. Now we build something new, an empire based not on conquest but on cooperation. A place where different species can work together as equals. And if other empires try to stop us? Vorthek's smile showed his sharp teeth. Then they will learn what the bonded princes can accomplish when they work together. Years later, historians would mark Tahoe's blood transfusion as the moment everything changed. The moment when the age of galactic warfare ended and the age of galactic cooperation began, but Tahoe knew the truth. It had not started with grand plans or noble speeches. It had started with one simple decision: to help another living being in need, regardless of the cost. Sometimes the greatest rewards really do come from the smallest acts of kindness. In the end,